Hi, I'm Nathan with the ebookreader.com. Thanks for joining me for another comparison review. This time we've got the 10.3-inch Onyx Boox Note and the 13.3-inch Onyx Max 2. So they're both very similar. They got the same software, same hardware components. Main difference is the size, so it's kind of hard to get an idea just how big these are. Here's the Kindle Paperwhite to give you an idea. Basically, the Onyx Note, which is usually considered a big device, is like twice the size of the Paperwhite. The screen alone is like twice the size of the Paperwhite, and compared to the Max, I mean, the Paperwhite's just a tiny toy. So these things are huge. The Max 2, even I was surprised by how huge it is. I reviewed the Sony version last year with the 13.3-inch screen, and it's just a lot more streamlined, a lot more light and easy to handle one-handed. But the Max 2 is definitely more of a two-handed device. So on the bottom here, we've got the mini Hdmi port, and you got the regular USB port. And then the Note, it has the USB-C port, so you got the one difference there. It doesn't have the HDMI port, but it has just that one button below the screen, and the power button is on top. The Note, it's a lot lighter, a lot easier to hold one-handed. It's actually about the same weight as a Kindle with the cover. The Max 2, on the other hand, is quite a bit bigger and heavier, definitely more of a two-hand device. So they both run the same Android software. Like I said, they're basically the exact same device, just with different size. So they got the same software, the same hardware components. The only real difference is the Onyx Max 2 has the HDMI port, so you can connect it to a computer to use as a monitor. So here's a look at the same PDF on both of these devices, just to get an idea like the size difference from the 13.3-inch screen with the 10.3-inch screen. So you can do different zooming modes. So this is just like with the full zoomed out PDF. This is just how this particular PDF lays out. It's got some pretty large margins. So Onyx's software, you got the option to remove the margins. I get it's a little bit too zoomed in for me here. I kind of like the fit to page better, but as you can see, everything scales quite a bit larger on the Max 2 screen, but I still find everything quite easily readable on the Note screen. I don't have any PDFs where none of them are really hard to read at all. So especially when you crop the margins like this, I kind of like this view a little bit better. A little bit of margins, not quite as zoomed in all the way to the edge, but you can customize it how you want with the custom margin crop feature. So here's the look at the side note feature. So if you plan on using the side notes, you might want to consider the larger device, because when you switch over to landscape mode here, this is probably the biggest difference between the two. The way the page scales, it's definitely easier to read on the Max 2 screen here. So you can also further zoom in here when you're using the side note mode. You can zoom in to get rid of the margins. And then, of course, you can use the stylus right on the opposite side of the screen. You can also switch, if you're left-handed, you can switch the side note to the left side of the screen. So yeah, definitely more suited towards the side note feature with the 13.3-inch screen. But I mean, it's still totally usable on the smaller Note screen here. You can still read the PDF depending on how you like, but it is more of a notepad-ish, a little smaller here. So here it is compared to the Kindle, once again, to get an idea. So it's not a lot larger than the Kindle. It's probably about more like reading on a 7.8-inch screen. So here's the Kindle compared to the Note. As you can see, even the Max 2 in landscape mode is a lot larger than the Kindle Paperwhite screen. So definitely some advantage with the side note feature as far as that goes. So here's a look at another style of PDF. This is kind of like a textbook style PDF with lots of images. You got things broken down into the smaller quadrants. So again, I don't have any problem reading this on the Note screen. Just sort of depends on your personal preference if you want the larger screen for the PDFs or not. Again, I don't really have a problem with the 10-inch screen and reading PDFs, but you might want the larger screen if you're using this every day. Here's another look at a different PDF here. So like the page turns and stuff like that are same. Like I said, the internal hardware is basically identical with these devices. Software is identical. So I'm not really going to show much. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of what, like the PDFs, how they scale, what they look like on the two different size screens here. So you can kind of get an idea if you really need the extra large screen on the Max 2, or if you can get by with the Note screens. So here's a little more of a close-up, so you can kind of look at the text, how it sort of scales on the two different screens. With this particular PDF, this one kind of has large margins. It sort of just depends on how your PDFs are laid out. Some of them have huge margins. This one's probably about average, actually. Some of them have really small margins, like that textbook PDF. So the build quality on the Max does feel a bit more solid. I mean, I get a little bit of flex on the Note, and then the Max, it adds those buttons at the bottom of the screen as well. You got the menu, page buttons, and the back button, whereas the Note just has the back button. So, and then also the Max has that stylus holder on the right side as well, so you can hold the stylus in there. So here's another look like at the size difference. The Note fits well within the Max's screen entirely. So again, here's a look at the a PDF with the margins cropped fit to width, and then we'll zoom back out, go to the default view. How the PDF's naturally laid out. As you can see, quite a bit larger on the Max 2 screen, but it's still easily readable to me on the Note screen. So I mean, there's not a huge difference in overall usability. I mean, both of them can get the job done. So they both use the exact same stylus. Like I said, I mean, these two devices are basically identical, just other than the size. The one big difference is the Max2 has that HDMI port, so you can connect it to a computer like I have right here. I got it connected to a Windows laptop, so you can mirror the display onto the ink screen if you want to use that way. There is a bit of lag though. It kind of takes some getting used to. You can also like mirror the display with the Note too. So I mean, it's not impossible to get its display from a computer as well. So obviously you can use ebooks on these two devices as well. It's not really a huge difference. You just got a lot more screen real estate on the Max2. But I mean, primarily the PDFs are where the difference is as far as like the way it scales and where you're going to be using them. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video right here. Check out the ebookreader.com for full reviews. I'm not going to go into any more like detail as far as software, but you can check the main reviews. I go into a lot of detail about how the software and the note taking and the reading software works on these devices. So thank you guys for watching. You have a good day. Bye.